that Buy It Now consignments through KetchumAllConsignments eBay are now open. I've taken in a few consignments, a few are underway, and I've had more people reach out to me too, as I've been mentioning it in some recent lives and videos. But this is my formal video where I will go through the terms and conditions. I will show you and link you in the description to the submission form, talk about the fees, talk about the pros and the cons of Buy It Now versus auction selling on eBay. That's where I'm going to lead off. So beginning of the video, we're going to go through some data. We're going to talk about why I think Buy It Now consignments bring value to you, the customer, and I mean, they provide value to me as a consignee as well. But yeah, I will put timestamps in the comments if you want to skip all the pros and the cons and the specific data on certain cards of Buy It Nows versus auctions, and you just want to get into the consignments because you're interested in sending. So yeah, time travel in the comments if you're interested, but we'll get right into it with my opinion. These are my opinions on the pros and the cons of auctions versus Buy It Nows. Auctions are forced liquidity. We transact, we exist in a hobby of very, very illiquid items, generally speaking. When you compare it to a stock where you click a button, buy offers, the bid-ask spread, it's all out there in very, very high volume. Pokemon cards just aren't very liquid, but when you list an item for 99-cent auction, that is essentially forced liquidity. Assuming it's not a junk slab that's worth almost nothing, assuming it has value of $100 plus, you're going to get bids. It is going to sell within 1 to 10 days. So that's kind of hitting the first 2 points. Illiquid items that kind of sell slow relative to stocks that can sell instantly. Auctions get you closer to that. They force liquidity and they give you a quick sell in 1 to 10 days. Two of the cons though, with stocks, you can go up, you can pull up what is Apple worth today. You can sell it within a few cents of that point. They give you an average of the bid-ask spread. The bid is usually a little bit below that, but you're usually selling within a couple cents of that, essentially instantly. But with cards, you can do an auction 24 hours. You can do a one-day auction. Generally speaking, it's not advised heavily. A week or 10 days is kind of more the norm. But yeah, the cons on the side of those two pros, you can't control the price. I've mentioned before, I have videos, check back. Market price is not a thing in Pokemon cards. Much more so in stocks where you have fungible liquid items. These are non-fungible, illiquid items. So market price for a given card might be between $100 and $200, depending on the day, depending on the selling method, depending on who's there bidding and buying. So yeah, you're going to land, generally speaking, somewhere in there. Maybe if it's a very ill-timed, ill-advertised auction, you might end up below market price. Shout out to PWCC, Heritage, Golden. At times, things slip through the cracks. I mean, even on eBay too, things slip through the cracks and go for quite the discount to market price at times, just because of the nature of an auction. And another con too, I said that you get a quick sale. You're guaranteed a quick sale within 1 to 10 days, unless it's shilled or unpaid for whatever reason. And historically speaking, I've sold tens of thousands of items on eBay over the past 15 years. I think most people would agree, and most people would tell you that auctions are more likely to have unpaid buyers. When I do Buy It Now, I have immediate payment required. So people can't click the Buy It Now button until they put it in their cart, check out, and pay all at once. Best offer changes it a little bit. You can't do immediate payment with best offer, but generally speaking, consignments are going to be Buy It Now only. In certain instances, special cases, there is an option to do best offers, but overall, as with my eBay, 90+% of consignments will be Buy It Now. Another pro of auctions is that you create a sense of urgency for the buyer. So given that the item's starting at 99 cents with most auctions, good auctions start at 99 cents. Some people try to start them right at market price or 80% of market price, but when I see that a card that I'm after is listed at 99 cents with 1 week to go, I know that it's game time. I know that I need to bid on this to win or I won't win it. Sometimes it doesn't matter if it's a card that there's just a million of them out there and there's going to be another one the next day. No big deal. But there are certain items, and I'll get into it later, where I think auctions are the best way to sell. So if and when you reach out to me to consign an item and I think it might be best to auction it, I'll tell you that. I'm not out here to, I'm trying to provide a service that brings you value, brings me value. If I don't think I can bring you the most value, same thing when people reach out to me to sell me collections. If I don't think I'm the best buyer for it, I don't make an offer, or I make an offer and give the disclaimer that you can probably get more elsewhere. I'm always trying to do what's best for the person reaching out to me. And a con of auctions, you are creating a sense of urgency. You might get people to kind of FOMO in, bid high because they don't want to lose it if it's a really desirable item. A con, though, it's only there for a limited time. Say I'm after X card and I'm on vacation in Hawaii for 2 weeks, the week that you run it. I'm out of the buyer pool now. It's limited time. You're going to lose some amount of eyes. People get busy. Life happens. There's times where you can't refresh eBay every 5 minutes. And yeah, that's just the nature of the beast when you're dealing with an auction for a fixed amount of time. A pro that kind of can be a con, you get the true market price for that time period. With auctions, you take the second highest bidder and you add one big bid increment, and that's what it goes for. That's the market price at that time. A con on that same front is, generally speaking, your ceiling price. So if I list a PSA 10 Moonbreon for sale via auction, generally speaking, most people bidding on that are going to search eBay, what's the lowest listed, buy it now. And again, there's strong, there's weak. These are non-fungible items. If mine's a weak one that I'm auctioning and someone else has a stronger buy it now, or vice versa. If the auction one is a strong 10 and there's a weak 10 listed for buy it now, you might have times where the auction will surpass the buy it now. You see it from time to time. Sometimes they're unpaid, sometimes they're paid. It's hard to tell. But generally speaking, a savvy buyer will bid no higher than the lowest buy it now. So the buy it now is on the market, especially, I'm talking about if there's one, if there's 20 of them, if there's 100 of them listed between $100 and $150, you're really capping a ceiling on what you can expect to earn from an auction. To be fair, a buy it now would struggle. If I list a buy it now at 100 and there's 100 of them listed between 100 and 120, that buy it now is going to struggle to sell because someone might want to pay an extra $5 or $10 to get a stronger copy. So to be fair there, another con of auctions that I put, you have a fixed end time when you're on eBay. One thing I like about Golden, PWCC, Heritage, there's no sniping. So I'm not someone who snipes, but so many people use it. So many people talk about it as if it's a good strategy that saves them money. Well, if on the buyer side it's saving them money, on the seller side it's costing you money, right? It's a zero-sum game. If the buyer's saving money, the seller's losing money. So that is a bad thing. There have been some very notable examples in the past couple of years of instances too, where people went to bid a snipe at the last second and then eBay declined their bid because credit card, some kind of a invisible bid limit. I know the #1 trophy Pikachu that auctioned a year or two ago, and that happened to a lot of people that went for low 6 figures, and a lot of people were just locked out of that. I've heard of other examples where eBay puts a hold on auction bids over 15K or something like that. So you can run into scenarios where you really have a lower end price due to some kind of a glitch in a snipe going through or whatever it may be. Just the inherent setup of eBay's auctions is not super seller friendly. One like PWCC, Heritage Golden, where when a bid comes in, it extends. It doesn't let someone steal it at the last microsecond and not give someone else the chance to FOMO in and bid more. So there's a con for auctions as well. Getting into the buy it nows, it's a little bit shorter. I think buy it nows are just more straightforward, more cut and dry. So there's no surprise pricing. You and I will set a price. Generally speaking, it's going to be within the ballpark of last solds. It's going to be the low list on eBay. I'm running a consignment service, not a free vault storage for indefinite vault storage. So there's no surprise pricing. You set the price and it sells or it doesn't. That's a con side. In auctions, you're going to sell it within 1 to 10 days. Unless it's unpaid or shilled, it might take 1 to 10 days times 2 times 3 in the worst cases. It's very rare that auctions are shilled 3 or 4 weeks in a row, but it does happen from time to time. So a con is, though, you're not guaranteed that sale, especially if you're selling a much more niche, a liquid item. You might be right in the realm of last sold, but they might only sell once every 3 months, once every 6 months. Items like that, we'll get into it later when we get into the terms of the buy it now consignment. But yeah, you might not get a quick sale, but you're going to get what you get. You're going to get that or not. And then another pro on that same front, if you price it well and it's pretty liquid, you might get an instant sale. So auctions, you might have to wait 1 to 10 days and then a few days after to get paid out. There are times where if you have a really liquid item, high demand, and you price it right, or even an illiquid item that just doesn't come up much, but you price it right, instant sale. I mean, there are times where I pop up an item, I wake up the next morning, boom, ship it out, done. Con on that side, you could underprice or undersell an item at times. There are definitely times where I've listed things at an auction. I haven't listed an auction in over 8 months. I'm probably done with auctions, moving ahead per my own business strategy. I just prefer buy it nows in every way. But yeah, you could theoretically say one hasn't sold in 6 months or a year, and the last sold was 2,000, and the low list is 5,000, and you decide to price it at 4,000. Well, there's a chance if you had auctioned it, it could instant sell at 4,000, and there's a chance if you had auctioned it in another reality, it could go for 4,500. You're never going to know. It also could have auctioned for 1,500 or 2,500. You just never know. So I just put that as a con. You could underprice an item theoretically. It could underperform. A con of auctions, though, too. It could underperform if you had just listed it as a buy it now. So to be fair, that's a con on both sides. When are auctions best? When are buy it nows best? In my opinion, 95% of times buy it nows are best, generally speaking, as long as you have time to not need the money immediately. I did put the little disclaimer down here, and I put a little bit of a meme, a little bit of a joke, paper hands question mark. I was going to make a joke about, it's probably bad too, like, full disclosure, I'm running a buy it now consignment service. Understand and know my bias when I make this joke. It's a joke. Auctions are the epitome of paper hands. You are saying, I will literally take anything for this item. 99 cents, whatever it ends at, I will take it. That's a joke. If it's a liquid enough item, you know that it's going to get close to that market range, generally speaking. But in my opinion, though, and I did a series 8 or 9 months ago where I was going to do monthly auctions, and they were just performing so poorly, and cash flow wise, I'm in a really good position with my business. So I have about 1,000 buy it nows at any given time. I sell about 50 to 100 a week. I'm cycling in 100 new ones every week, depending on the month, or depending on the week. So I just don't have the need to sell at auction, and I'm much happier controlling the pricing I go for. There are times where between 2021 and 2022, prices have generally come down. There are probably certain items where in hindsight, I would have been better off just selling it at 70% of market price, considering market price dropped 50% in that time. But it's a very difficult optimization problem when you go item by item. But in my opinion, auctions are best on items that in 2020, auctions were best on almost everything. So in periods of mania, auctions are just very, very good in many ways. They create that sense of urgency. FOMO is ripe. Hype is everywhere. So auctions are best, in my opinion, at times of hype and mania. Peak bubble, auctions are great. Auctions are great too on super, as long as you advertise them really well and they're really high demand. Like, I think illustrators are great at auction. I think PSA 10 Charizards are great at auction. I think items like that, super low pop, if they're too niche, you just got to be careful, because 1 week, the right person might not see it. The right people might not see it, and you might get a really low price. But those are a pretty small subset. Again, in my opinion, a ceiling price is usually set when an item or multiple items are listed as buy it nows. So auctions are generally best on items that don't have a million buy it nows listed. So many things in the Pokemon hobby, the higher the pop they are, the more likely there's some listed on eBay. So yeah, I guess generally speaking, auctions are better on lower pop, more obscure, more rare, scarce items. And buy it nows are better When there's a lot of other buy it nows out there, you just come in as the low buy it now, and you try to get that sale, a little more certain of your end price, little more idea on what you're going to get. You're not going to be at risk of getting half of what you think market price is or whatever. So yeah, there's pretty lengthy discussion on the buy it nows versus auctions, pros and cons. Next, we'll do an anecdotal example of not really, I guess not an anecdotal example, but a market example of, and the information, the data that came from this was counter to what I have thought. So I wanted to look at one of the most liquid, one of the most frequently sold items in our hobby, PSA 9 Unlimited Charizard. So all these items are the last, I believe it's, yeah, the last 50 sales of PSA 9 Unlimited Charizards. About twice as many auctions happened as buy it nows, but I pulled them all. Shout out Pokedata.io. I expected the average sale price of, let me see, I actually pulled, yeah, so I expected the average sale price of, sorry, I just need to recalculate it because the calculation got screwed up. I expected the average sale price of auctions to be lower than that of buy it nows. What I found was the average sale price of auctions was actually slightly higher. So an item like this, again, non-fungible, a PSA 9 Unlimited Zard is not a PSA 9 Unlimited Zard. It's not the same as every other PSA 9 Unlimited Zard. You had a low of 821. You had a high, I believe, of 1585 on the auctions. You had a low of 650 on the buy it nows, which really drags it down. I don't know if that's a real sale. Disclaimer, Pokedata.io is not perfect. None of these websites that compile market data are perfect. So yeah, that 650 really seems to be an outlier. If someone, I mean, someone genuinely could have just needed an instant sale. They could have priced it that low because they needed the money that day. So I left it in there. I didn't pull out. I just wanted to show, what I wanted to show was that buy it nows averaged higher. They didn't. So I'm still showing you the data because I don't want to, again, I don't want to do that. The highest number overall went to the buy it now. The lowest number also went to the buy it now. If you consigned with me a PSA 9 Unlimited base Charizard, I would not advise you to list it that low. I would look at low list. I would look at these are all the last solds. Given all these numbers here, I would probably tell you to go 1479 or something like that. I don't know if I'd shoot that high for the stars. If it was a really clean example, if it was what people want to see, a 4-cert, 6-cert, whatever, maybe. But yeah, generally speaking, I'd go low list, 1479, 1379, something like that. You'd earn a price that was above both of these, very likely. In my opinion, I think it would happen fairly quickly. But yeah, again, in buy it nows, you control the price, but you might not get the sale as quickly. Auctions, you don't control the price, but it's forced liquidity, you're going to get the sale quicker. So yeah, if you pull out that 650, say you pull out the 821 to be fair, pull out the low on each to be fair. Now, I guess auctions are still a little bit higher, but they're right on par. That item too, as I said, the more liquid an item is, the more, like, that item is, I used it because it's maybe the poster child for just peak liquidity. It's such an iconic card in the hobby. That card, I think, is one that I would feel safer running at auction because people are always out after a PSA 9 base Unlimited Charizard, especially if you had a strong example. Maybe pop it up there as an auction and just do well advertising it. But I wanted to show it because I pulled the data anyways, and I didn't want to like scrap the data because it didn't show it didn't confirm my bias. It didn't show the buy it nows is higher. So I showed that anyways. And another thing I wanted to show too, just on the same front, PSA 10 Evolving Skies Umbreon 215. Best offer accepted. Those are a pain. I'm not going to pull up 130 point, but auctions versus buy it nows. Let's just look at some recent auctions. 797, buy it now 700. Again, if someone had consigned this with me, I probably would have priced it a little more aggressively on the seller side, higher on the seller side. So 730, 810, couple auctions that did really well, but then you have a 700, $50 shipping, so 750. You got another auction at 680. You got an auction at 625. Auction at 700. A lot of these are being auctioned. I mean, here's a buy it now at 860. If I was listing one of these today, given these few data points that I have, I would go 800 right around there. I would think, given what I'm seeing here, you'd sell at 800, and then that's, I mean, 800. That's 20% more than 620 almost. My consignment fee on average is 20%. So one of the cases that I'll make later in this, I think in many instances, the consignment fee can nearly be fully covered by the additional premium you'll gain over having auctioning it. So 860, 710, 730, 645, 680, so many more auctions than buy it now. There's a 690 buy it now, 690 buy it now, 785, all over the place. Auctions are running a little bit lower, except where buy it nows people just price, I think, a little bit softer than they need to. I think those people should price a little bit, and when they do price a little bit higher, it seems as if they're selling. So in any case, I just wanted to show you some anecdotal data. Another thing I'll show you, oh yeah, so this one here and in the next next few minutes of conversation, I'm going to talk about anecdotal examples from actual consignments I've received. So shout out to Max from the Pokenomics Discord. He sent me an art set of PSA 8 Black Triangle Air booster packs. This Blastoise sold for $510. I sold his for $600. Funny story on that, I accidentally sent an offer out for 20% discount it was the first consignment I've ever received. I periodically send 10 or 20% discounts out on my whole eBay inventory. Now that I'm running consignments, I am going to omit every consignment item. These were my first ones. I forgot to omit them, and I sold one of his items for 20% lower than we had agreed on the price. I made him whole because one of the 3 items I sold for him, I charged him no fee. I gave him the whole amount, and I paid the 12% eBay fee myself. So I essentially netted even on his whole consignment because of the error that I made. If I do something wrong, it's on me. It's not on you. If I sell an item, you will get the net price that we agree upon. You'll get the listing price minus the consignment fee regardless. If I screw up, if I ship the wrong card, if I screw up the pricing, I'm going to pay you the whole amount we've agreed upon, and I'm going to take the loss myself. So I just wanted to shout out this example because this sold for $510 at auction. Very niche item, very, very a liquid item. I would never auction an item like this. I sold his $600. I sold his Venusaur art at $680. So that right there kind of proves to you that easily, I think, the Blastoise could have sold at $700. And I sold the Charizard pack, I believe, at $780. So that's an example where the buy it nows really outperformed the auctions on a super niche item. Another anecdotal example. So this is a spreadsheet that I showed you, I believe, in the live the other day. This is an actual consignment that's underway. So let's look at some of the items we have here. I will share with you a spreadsheet. So this isn't a sheet that is actually shared with the consigner. Let's look at some anecdotal examples. Let me reconfigure the size so we can show it. So this last column, column M, that's like under my face. This is the percent over last auction. So when it's green, it's sold. Haunter, PSA 10, I sold for $800 on behalf of this buyer. I netted to him $640. The last auction sale was $621. I don't know the exact timing. You could say that, oh, it was maybe months ago when we were at the bottom. Now we're climbing up out of the bottom. The market's recovering overall. Maybe. And just to be fair, I'm putting that disclaimer out there. But in this instance, this item sold for 28.82% over the last auction. This sold for 35.82% over the last auction. Grimer sold for 60% over the last auction. Sold for $680, last for $425. So I netted the number that was more than 20% more than the last auction for the consigner. Again, in many instances, I think that if you sell it yourself on eBay, you're going to pay a 20% or 12% final value fee minimum. If they're paying sales tax, you pay 12% on their sales tax. If they're in California or New York, that's nearly 1.2 additional percent. So you're up to 13.2%. If you're selling it through the global shipping program, that's going to be 13 to 14% because they add 1.5-ish%. Another couple cards that sold, there were no recent sold on that. Those ones I didn't even pull up the recent solds. I just went like $1 below low list. But anyways, just providing some more anecdotal examples. Now we're at that time, 25 minutes in. 25 minutes in, we lost most people 20 minutes ago, 24 minutes ago. I didn't mean to go next tab. Meant to go next tab here. So if you've made it this far, or if you've time traveled in the comments, welcome. This is the terms and conditions of my Buy It Now consignments. If you consign with me, link below too. I will link you to this spreadsheet. First, we're going to go through the terms and conditions. Then we're going to look at the submission form. I created a submission form for anyone to send to me. Please don't send me a box with no name, with no instructions, with no anything. I don't want to run into scenarios where I don't know whose stuff I have. And then after that, we will look at, so yeah, there's the submission form we'll go over. And then here's an example of the sheet I will share with you. So when we have a consignment underway, you will have a spreadsheet. I was going to say live. It won't be a fully live spreadsheet. I haven't like programmed it to turn the things green when they sell, to turn the things blue when I pay you. But generally speaking, as the items sell, the updated at least weekly, because I'll be paying out weekly. Again, I'll get into that. Updated at least weekly. They'll turn green when they're sold. They'll turn blue when they're sold and I've paid you. So yeah, you'll have a spreadsheet that shows you the full status, active listings, item, date received, date listed, and then I'll have over further, date paid, all that good stuff. So I guess we showed you, yeah, there will be a link, private link. It won't be a public link anyone can get into. It'll be a link with KetchumAllCollectibles@gmail.com. Through Drive, I will share with your Gmail address. You might need to create a Gmail address to be able to use that. I'm not sure how that works exactly, but it won't be like a link that anyone can get and see what's going on. It'll only be for me and you. Terms and conditions, though, very important part here. Very boring part, to be fair, but important if you're going to consign with me. I want you to know what to expect. So step one in the process, reach out to me. Email, Instagram, however you want to reach out to me. Send me a list of the cards you have. I need to approve any items that come to me. Please don't send me items blindly. You will see my P.O. box in the submission form. Please do not send cards without approval. If you do, and they don't meet the requirements, I'll have to charge you shipping to send them back to you. I hope that won't be an issue. It shouldn't be, but yeah. Email me your list. If you want to do a picture, if you want to do a list, if you want to set the pricing, you can just send it in the spreadsheet. You can use the submission form here. You can write your items in, and you can put the prices that you want to list them at, list price, and then it will calculate for you the net price and so on. But yeah, further on the terms and conditions, step one, reach out. Step two, await approval, and I'll give you the shipping address, which is right in the submission form, so you'll have it, but await approval. And then step three, fill out the form and ship it to me. Very important. If you want to be covered by my business's insurance, I have both inbound and outbound insurance. It's only for that address though. So you need to send it to my P.O. box and you need to have signature. It needs to be USPS with signature to my P.O. box, and it will be covered up to $50,000. I don't think I'll be getting too many individual items above $50,000, nor shipments. If you do have a shipment larger than that, reach out to me. We'll talk about it. I would probably advise breaking it up into $50,000 chunks to be shipped to me. But again, as long as it has signature and it's sent to my P.O. box, it will be covered by my business insurance. I do need to know though, for that's another important reason you need to get approval before you send out to me. If I have a list of what's coming and the worst happens, it gets lost. If signature's on it, I can give it to my insurer and we can go through the scenario. You might not get full list price that you wanted to list them at, but you would get some kind of, I've never had to do a claim yet, but I know people who have, and it's worked out to where they pay out market price on items as they're lost. You'd probably get closer to last sold. Just to be fair, disclaimer, give all the information. If a shipment gets lost onto me, it's not going to be insured generally for full list price. If it's after the sale, if it's on my end, it won't even matter to you because I'll pay you out and I'll pursue that separately. But yeah, if it's lost on the way to me, it would probably be last sold, not low list, not what we're listing at. So it is insured, but it's likely to last sold, not low list. And once the items come to me, if you price them yourself and we agreed upon that, they'll be listed within 2 business days. If you send them to me and you want me to determine pricing, if you want me to do the thing where I did here, where I went through and I did, hey, here's the low list, here's the last sold, this is what I'm proposing to list it to you. I will do that work. I will send the spreadsheet to you, and then I will await your approval. If you say, oh, 1,500 seems low list is 1,900, let's go 1,800. We can do that. So if you want me to propose pricing and then you want to approve it, we can do that. It'll just add a couple days because it'll take me 2 business days to price it. And then it will take me another 2 days once you've approved it or once we've come up to the new pricing to get it listed. So listed within 2 days to a week, depending on if you want to approve the pricing, if you want me to come up with it. And once that's done, it's up, it's live, it's good to go. You'll get that live Google Sheet to you that looks like this. That'll get sent to you. When they get sold, they'll go green. When they get paid to you, they'll go blue. And we'll talk about when and how the payments happen. Yeah, so payouts. I get paid out every Wednesday on eBay. I only get paid out once a week. I could switch it to daily, but once a week works fine. And yeah, the way payouts are going to work, say you send 10 items, and we'll get into the minimums and we'll get into the requirements down below in the terms. But say you have an item sell for $200 and then the next day you have an item sell for $100. Say you're pending a payout of about $250. I'm going to pay out every Wednesday, but only once you reach the threshold of $500, $499 I put. We'll see below when we get there. $250 is the average item value I'm requiring. What I'm trying to do here, and these are subject to change. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to not be PSA. I'm not going to get inundated. I'm not going to create a backlog. I'm not going to make a terrible selling experience for any of my consigners. If you consign with me, I will get it listed within 2 business days. I will pay you every Wednesday over $500. I am not going to estimate it. It's not estimated. It's not this, that. It's not going to turn into 2 years. It's going to happen. So to start out, I'm setting high requirements. High minimum payout of $500. I mean, it's only 2 items on average, considering I'm requiring a $250 minimum item average. But yeah, as far as business days goes, getting into the terms here, term number 1, my business hours, my default business hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday. USPS holidays excluded. The day this goes live is Labor Day. Happy Labor Day, everyone who stuck around 32 minutes or time traveled. So happy Labor Day. I'm not working today. You're watching this video. I'm not working. I'm hanging out with my family. I think it's supposed to be rainy, so I don't know what I'm doing exactly, but probably just hanging out watching TV. So 2 business days, as it says above. That doesn't include Saturdays. That doesn't include Sundays. It doesn't include Labor Day. So 2 business days. PSA, CGC, and BGS, single graded cards only. Pokemon or MetaZoo. I've already had people reach out to me. Will you take Weiss? Will you take Magic? Will you take Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know as much about those things. And again, I'm starting small. Once I in a month, I'll revisit. I'll make another video. I might expand. Less likely, I will expand to more grading companies. More likely, I will expand to more TCGs or to sports or whatever. But right now, I'm staying in my area of expertise, Pokemon and MetaZoo, BGS, CGC, and PSA. Those cover 99% of what I sell already. Those cover PSA, CGC, and BGS cover 95, 99% of slabs anyway. So Pokemon and MetaZoo obviously doesn't cover, but those cover my niche. Those cover my specialty. So the third one and one of the more important ones, when you send to me, $250 average item to start so I don't get swamped. Never will I take in absolute junk slabs. I'm not going to take in $10 items. I'm not going to take in $20 items. I would recommend you consign those. ZNG Emporium, TCA Game. Well, I was going to say Scott Pratt. I don't think he'd take those in either. Nick, PWCC, however and wherever you want to send them, not to me though. So $250 average item, $100 minimum. So that's another important thing. If you send to me a PSA 10 Master Scroll that's worth 15 grand, you can't send now 50 $10 slabs or 100 $10 slabs because of the average. Like, you can't have that item drag the average up. It would drag the average up to 250, but Individual items, $100 minimum. So if you send 4 items, it's got to be $1,000 total to get that 250 average. And also the lowest one can't be less than $100 list price. We'll see on the next tab how the math works out. It's not worth it to me, especially at this stage. It's not worth the risk of being inundated. If I have one person send to me 1,000 cards that are worth $50 a piece, and then a handful of cards that are worth $5,000 a piece, I'm gonna have to shut down. I'm gonna have to shut down for like 3 months, and maybe not 3 months, but I'm gonna have to shut down for a while. I'm gonna have to work 24-hour days to get the 2 business days to make that actually come true. But yeah, all these things I put right here, subject to expand. This is subject to change too. If and when I go a month and I don't get much for consignments and I'm way away from being inundated or being backlogged, I might lower it. I'll never remove a minimum altogether, but the $100 minimum might go down to 50. It might go down to 75. The $250 average might go down to, it might just be a $100 minimum. Maybe the average goes away and the minimum is just there. We'll see though. We'll take it slow. We'll see where it goes, see how it goes. Term 4, items are priced to sell. I price the items as I would price my own items. When you send to me, you're sending them to sell. I'm not a free vault. I'm not looking to store your items for years and years insured. I should have said earlier, all this is insured too. I have a policy that insures items on site. Items of a certain value will be stored off site at another, like a bank deposit vault. Fully insured in both locations, and if and when I get so many consignments that my inventory balloons beyond my policy limits, I will expand my policy limits, and I will pay more money to get everything fully covered when it's on site here, inbound and outbound and on site. So items are priced to sell. Low list on eBay is a requirement. So if there's an item priced for $999.99 and you send it to me and you say, I want to list it for $1999.99, I want to list it for $1,000 more than low list because it's worth more than that, I'm not going to do that. Again, I don't want to turn into a vault. These items are going to be priced to sell. There might be exclusions. Say you send a spreadsheet to me and you send out cards to me and low list is 1,000 and you want to list it at 900. And then when you send it to me and the time you send it to me, one pops up for 700, buy it now. If last solds are 800, last solds are 750, and you think it's too low and you think it will sell quickly, and I agree, we can talk about it. Special circumstance, we can talk about it, and maybe we can be second low list, maybe we can be third low list at times, depending on the item. But generally speaking, items will be priced to sell. If low list is 5,000 and last sold is 1,000, I'm going to want to list it closer to 1,000 than 5,000. I don't want to go $49.99 to be low list and be 5 times the last sold. So again, those things, reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Those things are all very negotiable. We'll talk about it. This is a tentative thing. This is I don't know exactly how it will work out, but one thing I'm contemplating to not become a free vault indefinitely. At 2 months, and if you send to me before this is concreted, it won't be applicable to you. You'll be grandfathered in to more of an open-ended thing. But tentatively, at 2 months, because I will be tracking, when you send me a card, I will be tracking the date that it's listed. And I'll make it notify me when it's been 2 months. At 2 months, I might require that we send a 10% offer, a 10% discount to try to encourage a sale. At 3 months, I might just discount the item totally, 10%. So listed at $1,000, 2 months go by, nobody buys it. We send an offer out to all the watchers for $900, 10% off. After another month, if nobody's taken that a couple times, we lower it to $900 and we see what happens. At 6 months, maybe we send an offer for 20% off or we auction it. You can't see it right here, but not concrete, not set in stone. Maybe 6 months will turn into a year. Maybe the 20% discount will turn into a 25% discount. Let me know in the comments if you're still watching 40 minutes in and if you have any opinions on that. But yeah, I think doing something, that's something that I do with my own inventory, and it's very, very successful. When I send out best offers, a 10% off my whole eBay store, I sell over 100 items overnight, usually. I sell over 100 items overnight, especially when I sell, when I do a 20% discount offer to all watchers. So getting into the fees now. this late. I've talked about it for anyone who's watched before. 20% fee, all inclusive. Free shipping will be the list price. So there's no like shipping. There's no hidden fee that the buyer's paying that you're not getting a percent of. You're getting 20% of the sale price. Buy it now, free shipping, all inclusive up to $2,500. For every dollar over $2,500, you will pay 5% on. And so essentially the way that works out, if an item sells for $3,000, the first $2,500, the whole fee doesn't become 5%. 5% of $3,000 would be $150. That would be way too low of a fee. I pay more than that to eBay to sell a $3,000 item. So the flat fee would be $500 for the first $2,500, and then it would be $5 per 100 for the next every dollar thereafter, 5% every dollar thereafter. So on a $3,000 sale, you'd pay $500 plus $25. You pay $525 to sell a $3,000 item. And any item that sells for under $100, actually, I'm going to change that. I thought about this more before I made this video. $10 surcharge. I don't want that to happen. There is a $100 minimum. So you'd ask, why do I have to charge a surcharge if an item sells for under 100? Say you send an item to me that's worth 120 bucks and we list it for 120 bucks and the market tanks 50% in the next 6 months. And we decide to readjust the pricing to 60. You're going to owe me a $10 surcharge for the fact that so items like that, you need to be a little bit careful. If they're worth only barely over 100, there is risk that you're going to have to discount it to sub 100 to get it sold, and then you will have to pay a $10 surcharge. Same would apply for if we send it to auction after 6 months and it earned under $100, there'd be a $10 surcharge. Because I don't want to not be selling items, and I don't want to be selling items on $100. And here's the submission form. This is what it will look like. When you send this to me, this will be enclosed in your submission. You let me know up front how you want to be paid. The general, in order of preference, this is the way I'm going to pay people out. PayPal, friends and family, crypto, USDC, check. I can send you a check in the mail if you want. ACH, bank transfer. I can do all 4 of those very easily. Those are generally in order of preference. Most people, I think, are going to go for PayPal, friends and family, but the other ones are there. So if you choose PayPal, put in PayPal, put in your PayPal address. Easy as that. If you want crypto, put in your address. You'll also send it to me somewhere too, so I can copy and paste it. I don't want you to fill it out wrong. I don't want to fill it out wrong. I can't copy and paste from a sheet that's inside of your submission, but I guess you could put it in your Google Doc. You could send it to me and I'll put it in your Google Doc so that every time I go to pay you out, every week I go to pay you out, or whatever frequency I pay you out when you get the sales over 500, I'll just copy and paste it so I don't do your address wrong. Preferred contact method. Some people email me, some people Discord me, some people Instagram DM me. Those are, again, actually Instagram. My preference is email. I like email better than Instagram, but Instagram's perfectly fine. Those are the main 3 methods of contact for going back and forth, agreeing on pricing and all that. And let me know, would you like your item featured on Instagram and YouTube? And if you do you want any business shouted out? Do you want any page shouted out? Some people do, some people don't. If you just want it all anonymous and you don't want it talked about, you just want me to list the items on eBay, never show them on YouTube, never mention them on Instagram, that's fine. Just put anonymous here. If you do want something shouted out, throw your business card in the package and I'll show it when I'm showing your items. I do YouTube lives every week. These things will periodically be shown on YouTube lives. Occasionally I'll do an Instagram story to feature the more high-end items. There's no guarantee that it will be featured on socials, but there's a very high likelihood that it will be, at least flash quickly through a YouTube live. Put your return shipping address. Very rare. Generally speaking, you're going to send items to me. I'm going to sell them. They're not going to come back to you. If and when, for whatever reason, they have to, if you decide to recall them, I'll have to figure out what the fee will be. It might be like 20 bucks plus actual shipping cost just to compensate me for having to pack them, having to go through with pricing an item and then not selling it. I'll have to figure out what the fee will be exactly, but it would probably be like $20 per shipment plus actual postage fee. Just so I'm not working for free and having to ship your items back. And yeah, returning items is not at all standard. Include a return address just in case inside your package. If and when 6 months later I need to return an item to you or whatever the case may be, I will verify. People move all the time. I won't just blindly ship it to the one you put in your packing slip. I will verify before I ever ship to you, the day before I ship to you, what your address is. So I think it's just reasonable to have that up front. Here's an example of, so this is the packing slip. Here's an example of how you'll fill out your items. Say you want to send to me a PSA 10 base first Charizard. Low list is 424K on eBay right now. Last sold is 200K. We're going to list it at 250, let's say. So what this does for you, this again will be shared with you in the document that I share with you. It calculates for you automatically. I mean, look at this nice, fancy, complex calculation I did. Ifs, it's less than 100, it's 80% minus $5. I got to change that to 10. And then, yeah, so if it's under 100, you get, you pay 20% plus $10. And if it's between 100 and 2,500, you pay 20% flat. That's the easiest calculation right there, 20% flat. If it's over 2,500, it's more complex because you pay 20% of the 2,500 and then you pay 5% of what's over 2,500. And shipping is included at both 100 to 2,500 and 2,500 plus. So the way that works, it just, the fee you would pay on selling a Charizard for $250,000 would be $12,875. The fee you would pay, again, these are all just example numbers that I put here. If you sold an item for $290, you're going to net $232. Your fee's $58. If you sold an item for $2,500, you're going to net $2,000. You paid $500. And this one's just a percent of calculating what effective rate you've paid on your whole item. So the lowest it could ever be is 5% if you sold it for infinity dollars. The highest it would ever be, well, the highest would be uncapped. If you sold an item for like $2, you'd pay more than $2 to sell it. But most of them, anything between 100 and 2,500 will be easy. It'll be 20% flat, everything included. And then like an item in between, 5K, it'll be like 12.5% your effective rate, because half of it's at 5%, half of it's at 20%. So makes sense that it's 12.5%. Another thing, everything I do is full disclosure as much as possible. I calculated what my profit would be on each. And that number might seem exorbitant, but to me, Golden's going to charge you a lot more. Heritage is going to charge you a lot more. I think I'd be a little, if you're going to send a PSA 10 base first Charizard and you want to sell it for $250,000, reach out to me. Special circumstance, that's higher than my insurance limit. I don't think that'll be an issue. I don't think I'll be getting any people reaching out with those. But if you do, that'd be a $6,700 payday for me. If and when there was an issue and I got scammed or something, that would be a lot of money to lose all at once. So that wouldn't be fun. But yeah, down below, you can see right here an example of why I don't want to sell $50 items. The way that this works, I think I do have to change it to, let me change it to where, yeah, this would be like plus $5 because now I'm charging 10. So I would actually make, like $9 on a $50 item, which wouldn't be terrible. But on a $100 item, yeah, on a $100 item, I'm actually only making $3. So that's just full disclosure. That's how much I'd be making. That's with, so my eBay fees are 20% up to 2,500. They're 2.35% thereafter. Disclaimer, this only goes down. So if they pay sales tax, I pay 12% on the sales tax. None of the sales tax comes to me. None of it goes to you. But on a $25, $100 item, if they pay $250 sales tax, I have to pay 12% of that sales tax. And that's coming out of my pocket. That's coming out of my commission. That's not coming out to you. So your net is the same, whether or not it's GSP, whether or not it's authenticity guarantee, whether or not they paid sales tax. That all comes out of my profit. So this is my high-end profit. If and when they pay sales tax, if and when something else happens, it comes out of my end. So your end is going to be guaranteed, assuming the item actually sells. And I think that's everything. I did not by any means think this was going to turn into a 50-minute video, but it did. That's the way things go when you deal with me. it is what it is. So we're just gonna live with it there. Reach out to me. I've already had several people reach out to me. I don't know that a 50-minute video will really make more people reach out to me, but I'm going to start advertising it more. I'm going to start putting the link to the consignment submission form, the consignment terms and conditions, and the sample sheet so that you can calculate what an item will net you. You can look at all the terms and conditions. This will be a live updating thing. So if and when I change anything, be sure to look it over. I know no one reads the fine print. Everyone clicks the box saying they did. Look it over before you send to me, just in case any of these things changed, because they may. But yeah, that's it. Click the link below. DM me on Instagram. Email me. Get in touch with me if you want to do a consignment. I hope it can be a beneficial thing for both of us. Going back to the auction versus buy it now, I think generally speaking, buy nows are the way to go. I stand by it, and anecdotally, there were a few examples there that showed successful transactions, and more of these have actually sold since. I know the Charmeleon sold. I believe the Magikarp might have sold. A few more of the Tauros definitely sold. A few more of these sold too, so this isn't like 100% up to date. But yeah, that's it. Like, sub, you probably already have if you're here. I might split this into 2 videos. I don't know. I probably won't. I'll probably just post it. But yeah. I'll be live on Wednesday this week because Pokeflips is this week. I'll be live on Thursday for Pokeflips. So hopefully I'll catch you there. I'll be showing off some consignments potentially if they make it to me in time. If not, hope you had a great Labor Day weekend, and I will catch you all later.